Beard, do you need a break quick? Then I stay and I do a break later.
I need to go to the bathroom.
Yeah. I know. I can see it. I can see it. Leave.
Winnie,
Leave.
Rev.
Excuse.
Hey,
Hi, go potty. Go potty. Go to the bathroom.
bathroom.
Go to the bathroom.
This camera
Is
follows
that the Winnie
him.
move?
No. Pause it.
Pause it? Pause what?
Lock. No, I need to lock it.
Ah,
camera.
the camera is following you to the toilet.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
right?
the camera.
Didn't know this was
That would be
NSFW.
so funny if
Come
that
on.
was would be like a robot when the camera is just going through the room, like slightly behind you to the toilet.
Oh man, that was good.
I would say I want this camera.
I know, that's nice. I need that. I need it to follow
I need
me.
that. Right. I mean, it's not enough social media and everything. We need cameras who are following
Constantly.
us
Everywhere.
constantly.
Is that the
Always.
camera that we're giving away?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's the camera you guys will be getting. It has a drone and it can fly everywhere basically. And I promise you, you will never be alone again.
And you won't hear the constant hum.
All right, Rev, let's start with you. Please give
Okay.
me a quick introduction. Who are you?
I'm RevDMQ. My name is Danny Quanstrom. I live in in Michigan in the United States, and I'm a boomer gamer. I'm 34. I have a 21-month-old daughter, and
Congratulations.
thank you. She's wonderful. And
So cute.
so this is maybe jumping ahead, but one of the things I love about gaming is about the community is that we were trying to conceive for years. So my wife and I could not get pregnant for 7 years. And the gaming community, Battlefield community specifically, but even broader than that, was like fully invested in our trying to conceive, got donations from gamers and people I'd never met. And so part of the reason we have a kid at all is because of the gaming community. And so it's pretty remarkable. So she's wonderful. She's incredible. And my wife is currently 5 months pregnant, 5.5 months pregnant with our second. And so we're having another girl, and it's crazy
because
because
age.
Oh,
That's a perfect age.
25 months apart.
In between. Yeah,
they'll be
that's
25
perfect.
months apart. It'll be great. And so got pregnant naturally, which was just didn't know that actually happened with humans, because that's not been our experience. And so that's a little bit about my family. I don't know. She might pop down a little bit later. We'll see. But I'm a pastor. I'm an ordained minister, and I pastor a small parish in rural Michigan. And if you're from Michigan, you're obligated to do this. So I'm from right here. This is the state of Michigan. And I'm from right in the middle. If you're from the Midwest, you know what I'm doing. Everywhere else in the world has no clue.
No idea.
Yeah, that's the state. Yeah. And so, I'm a pastor, pastor a small congregation, and they are mostly old, but less and less old than when we started. And it's a fun thing. When the pandemic hit, we were all kind of like, oh my goodness, how do we go online? How do we stream? How do we change our worship service to digital? And I was like, don't worry, guys.
That's so funny.
Got
Please,
this.
I have to talk about. I have to ask in there for a second because
interrupt.
TFS Pun here actually also does a lot of work, privately to support. You know that already.
Yep.
So, and he told me the same thing. Everyone, didn't know how to do it, and he could help and fix it and do the live stream. So, did you help other communities to set up their streams or whatever? Did you set up a stream? How did you connect to your community during COVID and do your job as a pastor at work? Please tell us a little bit about it. I'm really curious.
Yeah. So, I mean, we set up our stream before COVID hit. We were ready to go. We'd been streaming for a couple months already because we have some people who are shut in. They're homebound. They can't get out. And so we put it online because we had people in our local community. And so we were set up, but as soon as it hit, I mean, I was getting calls from pastors all over the place like, hey, I know you play video games and I think you stream. can you help me? And I was like, yes, absolutely. So I put together a YouTube video. I did a little tutorial for people on how to navigate OBS. And I was like, what I was doing was, here's a budget stream setup for you. You can get a camera. You don't need to go into all of the A10 Mini Pro and all the, all that stuff. I said, get a Scarlett 2i2, get a camera, get a computer. We can make it work. And so I put together a little tutorial.
Isn't sound even more important than a camera in the
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And so I said, get a cheap camera. That's fine. But that's like, you can, with a Scarlett 2i2, you can run the audio out of your soundboard and get it into your computer really easily, and a decent quality for very cheap for people who are on a rush to get everything going. So yeah, I mean, that was huge to get that started. Like, we were set, but then helping other churches. But then it was also just so weird to like I preach sermons every Sunday. Like, that's a big part of my job, is standing in front of a group of people and talking at them. And so I did that for most of last year to a camera, like, without any engagement. Like, if I'm streaming or something, I've got chat that's like engaging, but with that, it was just me and the camera, and it was so weird.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Yeah. It's awkward.
How do the other pastors and the community react actually to you being also a gamer, and especially playing video games where you shoot people? Is that like an issue? Did you have ever, or do they react positive all over? How did the reaction surprise you in a way, positive or negative?
I think the reaction is mostly confusion. Like, oh, you do that? Okay. Well, why?
Yeah, right?
Yeah. And I'm like, well, I love video games, and I like hop online with my friends and play video games. And I'm like, why do you go bowling with your friends? Why do you watch football with your friends? What do you mean? I'm like, this is how I connect with people. This is how I build relationships with people. Video games are a means to personal connection. And so I'm like, I'm building real relationships with people over a digital medium. And when it comes to my work, to my profession, I'm like, listen, and my tag for gaming is a force for good in gaming. And that was because there's so much toxicity, right? Like, there's so many people who are really broken and really hurt. And I was like, listen, I'm not going to shove anything down anyone's throat. But if people need to know that they're loved, if people need to know that they have value, if people need to know that they're worth something, I'm going to be available for them. And that has, so when I explained it in those terms, my peers are like, oh, that makes sense. They're like, so tell me some stories. So then I can share stories of people that have been struggling with either breakups, relationship issues, deaths in the family. And they come to me and they're like, hey, Rev, I don't know how to process this. Help me out. And so it's a good opportunity to just like serve people, serve the community, and like say, hey, I'm really sorry. Let's talk about what you're dealing with. And so it's just kind of an opportunity to love people, to provide support for people who are grieving.
I love that.
Yeah, and and again, like, that's the thing, you have the toxicity among the community, or those certain people, but you also have that quote unquote toxicity among the content creator side, where they're in it for themselves and they're not really looking to give back. And again, chat, I mean, you've heard community again. Wait till Winnie gets going. If she started talking, you had to wait till her community. Can we hear from
Winnie? I need to shut up.
I know, it's time.
Jeez.
No.
Winnie's community is insane.
It's awesome.
Do you mind if I switch over to Winnie quick?
Yeah.
Awesome. Happening. Winnie, you have had the most remarkable past couple weeks, like absolutely remarkable. I've seen you crying on stream, tears of joy on stream. I don't know how much. I mean, hype train after hype train after hype train. How much money did you raise for your charity? What was the charity you raised the money for? I mean, your community is just, it's been insane. It seems like it's on fire right now.
It really is. It really is on fire. First of all, I'm Winnie. For anybody that doesn't know me, I'm a variety streamer on Twitch. I have a love for Battlefield, and that's where I met most of these amazing people originally. So getting to the question, I was actually just writing an announcement today in my Discord, kind of summarizing a little bit of what we've accomplished this year, and especially in the last month. So, you mentioned the charity. What the charity that we've been working with heavily this year is Cap for Kids, and they support kids who are battling cancer. And it helps them and their families pay for their bills, whatever that may be for them. It may be the cancer treatments themselves. It may be a car so that they can get to their treatments. It may be their home. It may be food. They work individually with each family. And they've actually, started sponsoring kids in a hospital that's local to me. So it's just been a really powerful connection. And we have raised this year over $13,000 total, which is just so insane.
Insane.
It's really insane. And especially just to see, like, I don't know, how the community's grown. And we're still coming together to raise so much money. And I'm just so incredibly excited to see what we do in the future. And just like you guys were saying, like, it is about the community. It's not about me as a streamer. This is why I started this, is so that I have a platform to have an impact, to do exactly what Rev was saying, and love people. Like, I have a lot of love to give, and and I want to share it. And I have a whole freaking army behind me now, and it's just continuing to grow. And it's just so exciting. It's so incredibly exciting.
Oh, I could tell by every second in your streams, you can tell how excited you are and happy you are with all of that. Yeah, just tremendous. Now, next one. Oh, so you told us about Cap for Kids, and you said they raise money for kids with cancer, correct?
Yes. So
cool.
Do you want more information on them?
Yeah, of course, please. I mean, this is what we're about here.
Yeah, absolutely. They originated in Colorado, and of course, I hope we can link Sterling Vorian somewhere in here. Miss Burr can maybe give a link, but he's one of the founders of Cap for Kids. Every single penny that they raise goes directly to families. Every kid that they support, it gets allotted $5,000 a month. Like I said, to go towards their bills, whatever they need. Everybody that's part of the board with the for Cap for Kids, they cover all of the costs, all the running costs and whatnot. I think they're supporting 43 kids right now. And that's just been growing. And I think they're going to have 50, by the end of the month. So it's just really special. They also have other programs that they do where they have, they do cosplays, and they go to the hospitals and they visit kids to try to, spread some smiles. And, these kids are just absolute warriors, like beyond anybody's imaginable dream. And here they're looking up to, some of us just walking in costumes and whatnot, and just be able to spread that smile. So we're working with Sterling to get me on a cosplay visit in the hospitals with them. So we're just really excited to keep supporting such a wonderful cause. And like I said, every single penny goes right to the families. And I think that's something for me that just, like, you don't find that everywhere, and it's these people have full-time jobs, so it's just absolutely crazy. I'm excited to see what we're going to do going forward. And I know we have more charities that we want to work with. We've been looking at Canine for Warriors for a potential kind of Memorial Day stream, because we support veterans and we support mental health and all of that. So we're just really excited to see where all of that goes, and all of the good that we're going to do this year.
Yeah, very, very, very cool. GWC, I guess, announcement that we didn't make. We will be doing hopefully 4 big events this year, and obviously a couple of them being charitable events where we're going to hopefully raise some money here for charity. So Winnie, make sure you link us. Heck, we do something together, maybe, or even
I would
in
love
conjunction.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would love that too.
Let's
Sounds like a great
let's do that.
project. And
Yeah.
congratulations again. I was in your stream, not for long, but for sure. You were already like, I think like after, I don't know, after 24 hours or something, I actually caught you.
Yeah, that was
And
my
you were
first ever
sitting there.
24-hour stream. First
How'd it
ever.
go? You look tired
All
by
over
the
your
end of
I
face.
it.
can't do that.
I can't do that as well.
I'm
But
so
I think
old.
I think it's
I
I
know.
think it's an age thing. You know? I mean, I'm hitting the 40 next year, and
Oh, hey,
I
congrats.
can't see. Thank you. I can't see. I can't. Anyway, I can't see myself doing. But on the other hand, I'm thinking a lot about if I should try it, even though I would give up
Yes.
eventually. Just try it. See how it goes. I don't know. I mean, obviously, it is
I
possible.
won't let you fail.
Do you have a trick? Do you have a trick how to do it? Tell me. Do you
Well,
sleep
so here's the thing that I thought that going up to this, because a lot of people have wanted a 24-hour stream from me for a long time, and I'm like, no, we'll do it when we get partner. I've always said that, when we get partner, we'll do it for some reason. But we decided to do it with this charity stream, and I think that was the best thing that I could have done, because anytime I was tired, I was just like, for the charity, like for the kids, it was just like a reason to keep going and stay awake. You're like, I can stay awake if these kids are battling cancer, and we're here to raise money. So I guess my one piece of advice is have a reason behind it, have a cause. But yeah, I don't know.
That's a great shift actually to mindset and being grateful actually. Can we tune into that one quick? Guys, you both, do you have a routine to practice gratitude in some way? And I mean, this is probably an interesting answer from both of you. Maybe we start with you, Rev. Do you have any routine as a pastor that you learned over the years that you practice for yourself?
Yeah. So first I want to say that I appreciate the way that the question is phrased. That I think this is a good question. I think it's the right question, because I think very often people ask, how are you grateful? Or like how do I become grateful? As if it's a state of being. And I think that gratefulness is not a state of being, it's a state of doing. And so you're saying, how do you practice gratefulness? And I think we don't always recognize that gratefulness is a practice, that it isn't something we are, it is something we do. What people want is like joy and peace and like full presence. And that is realized through practicing gratefulness. Gratefulness is kind of the channel, the avenue by which these other emotional states become possible. And without gratefulness, we don't get that. And so I don't know, there are a few things. One thing that I think is super important to recognize that is what's called the Velcro Teflon effect. It's a hard thing to say. And I've heard, Velcro
like
Teflon. That's going to be my rap name.
The Teflon.
But the Velcro Teflon effect, things stick together, right? Like, and Teflon is the material on pans that prevents food from sticking. And so, like, things just slide off of Teflon. And so I've heard it from Father Richard Rohr at length, but talk about this effect that's a neurological effect in your brain. In order for your brain to create memories, it creates channels. The more memories you have, the deeper the channels are, the more ingrained that thing is in your body. And I'm sure Winnie could talk a lot more about the physiological effects than I could, because she has a
proud of you right now.
a doctorate in physical therapy. So she does this stuff. But am I right, Winnie? Is that
You're so right. You're so right. That's why I'm proud. I'm very proud.
Yes.
I'm very proud.
But in order for your brain to create channels for a bad memory, it's super easy. It's super easy, and this is probably some evolutionary holdout. You're trying to survive, trying to outrun a predator, whatever it is. So negative memories, negative circumstances, negative situations, they create deep channels real fast, and they're very easy to remember. And it's like when you're having a conversation with somebody, you say something stupid. That's the only thing you remember from that conversation, right? But all the good and beautiful things you forget.
Yep.
And so bad memories dig deep channels, easy to remember. good memories, good things, beautiful things, they slide off of your brain like Teflon because it doesn't help you survive. And so in order to dig a deep enough channel for a good memory to leave a lasting impact, you have to be intentional about thinking about it for at least what I think is 15 seconds, which might not sound like a lot, but how many of us take time to just reflect on a good thing for 15 seconds constantly? And so a lot of us don't create these channels, these gratitude channels in our brain because we don't take the time to meditate on good and valuable things. And so I think that's all to say. I think the question is so good. How are we practicing gratitude? Is it something that we make a part of our routine? And then to your question about, in my particular practice, are there things that I do? I mean, this is a simple thing, but I don't ask people how they're doing. Like if I'm greeting someone, I very often, I almost never say, how are you? Because the negative channels are much deeper than our positive channels. And so I'll often say, tell me something good. Hey, Mizzy, it's good to see you. Tell me something good. And
the first thing you say to somebody, you just go, like you meet somebody on the street and you say like, tell me something. That's interesting.
Or I'll say, or to like someone in my church, one of my parishioners or my friends, like when I greet them, I'll say, hey, it's really good to see you. Tell me something good. And they are taken aback. Oftentimes they're like, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, you can't tell me anything good? Like, you got to tell me something good. And it forces people to think about something positive in their life. Yeah.
You put them in the state of being grateful basically just by asking the right question. That's correct. That's amazing.
And it's not, and I don't even ask a question. It's a command. Tell me something good. In that command, there's a little bit of authority there that like,
let's try that chat. Tell me something good.
And that's often how I'll start streams. I'll in my streams, I'll say, hey guys, tell me something good. And then I hear about, and it's also beautiful to hear the good things going on in people's lives. Like what's going on with their family. Like my mom just got out of the hospital. I can celebrate that with you. That's wonderful. But even small things like, Steve, you're hydrated. I'm very dehydrated because I'm on like my 8th cup of coffee today. I'm glad you're hydrated, Steve. You have encouraged me to drink more water today. But it's a simple thing that doesn't have to be, I think we think of practices like football practice where it's, grueling, but it's like, no, put it into your ordinary everyday routines. And also maybe keep a journal. So one of the things that I think is super important, I'm not great at it, but it is recording good things that have happened. Recording what you are grateful for at the end of the day, at the beginning of the day, to start well and finish well, to say, what am I thankful for today? What is going well in my life? I've got a beautiful daughter. I've got a wonderful wife. I've got a great home. Bam. What can happen to me today that's going to ruin my day? And so verbalizing, creating that reality in your world by speaking it or writing it, it kind of makes it puts it into existence. And so those are a few simple practices. But I'm also very curious what Winnie thinks and what she puts in.
Yeah, Winnie was nodding all the time when you were talking about journaling.
No, I couldn't help but just like nod a lot. I mean, there's one part of just like, yes, preach it, Rev. I love our conversations. Because it is, I mean, it's intentionality, I think, it comes down to being very intentional about everything, really. And even as I answer this question, it makes me think about how am I intentional about how I'm grateful, because some of it's just automatic, and that's I'm going to kind of jump around here, but Rev, like you were saying with the how are you, it's like that is so automatic. Like it is such an automatic. Yeah, it doesn't. Are you really getting anything valuable out of that conversation? And I think that's something I also just, I love value in conversation. I don't really want to have, what's it called? Yeah, small talk. And so kind of cutting out the how are you and just tell me something good. I love it. It just opens it up for the positivity. And I think that's how I practice my gratitude, is just flooding my brain with positivity, because when you're absorbing positivity and when you are trying to give it back out, you can't help but be grateful for those positive things. So it ties directly right into what Rev was saying, is just being intentional, having a list, and I think like talking about the good things and encouraging people to search for the good things, because like, again, Rev, like you were saying, is it's so much easier for us to focus on the bad things. Our bodies and our minds are programmed, like they're like, hold my beer, I'm ready to remember the bad memories, whatever it is. Whether it be physical trauma, emotional trauma, it is ready to hang on because it's our instinct to protect us from it happening again. So it's being intentional about what your brain is focusing on. I think a lot of us, it's easy to think like, oh, it's kind of out of our control, but it's not. It's not. And even if you may think something else, you need to verbalize it, write it down, and practice that.
Like Rev said, and messaged me, it's a practice. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not just something that's going to come to you. You have to work at it. And
yeah.
Especially when you take into consideration trauma, like as you said, Winnie, like trauma. I saw this incredible quote. Trauma shows up as a reaction, not a memory. That there is either a physiological or emotional or behavioral reaction to a circumstance or conversation or whatever it is.
Triggers.
And it shows up. It shows up as a reaction, not as like, oh, I'm thinking bad things. And so I think gratitude is super important to help us deal with trauma. To be able to say this traumatic thing is not the only thing.
Yep.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Winnie, can I piggyback a little bit?
Yeah, please do.
When you were talking about like, if you are intentionally positive about things, like if you put that positive in, that's kind of what you get. And there's this, I can't not do this, guys. Sorry. But Jesus said at one point to his disciples, ask, seek, knock. Ask and you will, and ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open. And I think that's an incredible nugget of wisdom, because what he was saying was basically, hey, whatever you're looking for, you're going to find it.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you ask for that thing, it's not saying like, it's not this magic wish list. It's like, no, if you're looking for trouble, you're cruising for a bruising, right? Like you're going to find it.
Most of the time, it's if you do it over and over again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You keep
because
looking for it.
It's always about repeating, and then it comes back to developing a habit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And this habit can be everything.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Because we are human. We can't forget we're human. We're all gonna, we all mess up. That's something, I'm being a perfectionist. I'm like, no, we are human. We're gonna, it's okay.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Actually, one of the latest books actually that stuck in my mind. I actually have it here prepared for this stream, and because I wanted to share this with you guys. It's called The Art of Fear. I don't know if you have ever heard of it.
I've heard of it.
Fear.
Mm-hmm.
I actually lost the cover. I'm so sorry. Every time I get a book with a cover, I take the covers away.
Why do they make sleeves for hard copy books?
I don't like them. I always put them away, and then I have like a blank book.
I take it off to preserve it, and then it gets messed up anyway.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So, but anyways, I really also for content creators, I really can recommend this book for content creators, because it also speaks about what we talked about, like placing habits and dealing with fear, the fear of not being successful, for example. And if you look at Winnie and what she has created since COVID, when she basically did go full in streaming and her way up, it so many times when I think about this book, I think of you. It's really about just moving forward, and it's about going step by step. I feel like it's the opposite of goal setting. It's more like seeing the way and just going and moving and getting better by going and doing it and over again.
Yeah.
It's too much to bring now in to take down, but I really recommend look into this book, guys.
The Art of Fear, right?
The Art of Fear. I really loved it. There were some really good ideas in that. Nothing too new, but bring it in perspective always helps, I feel.
Well, nobody climbs Everest in a step.
Yeah.
I mean, like, part of the reason we have so much fear and part of the reason we are our own enemies is because we don't just put one foot in front of the other. Like, you just take the next step. You don't have to conquer the mountain today.
No. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's always about, to me, it's always just improving off of the day before, or in this case, the year before. It doesn't matter where you came from. All that matters is where you go and where you can go, and how you get there. And it doesn't matter how long it takes, and it really doesn't matter if you start off broke and you end up being able to put your kids through college and something you were never able to do. That's a success in my story. I know a girl who ended up getting pregnant at 16 years old, 15 years old, and is raising a 12-year-old child while going to work, and a single mother. And I'm more inspired by her and more proud of her than that guy who hit it big and got lucky on the lotto ticket, because she's put in the work, and the rewards, the gratefulness she feels from that process and will feel as she's raised a beautiful kid and as she's gone through everything. That process to her is going to be so much more rewarding than the person who wins the lotto ticket. He may be the trillionaire, but the work you put in, the little baby steps you take along the way to improve. I know from my side, watching it, my perspective, much more proud of that person than I would be anybody else who just, got handed them, or was handed themselves the money or whatever the case may be to make them feel that way. It's the baby steps. It's the steps one after the other, like you said, foot in front of the other. And that process that makes it all worth it. And that's something, as you go, eventually put those 50 steps together, you get a look back and, you end up being grateful, so grateful for the process, the hard work it took, the effort you put in to be successful, the effort you've put in to get to where you are, and Rev, the effort you've put in. And it doesn't matter where we are now, but, it's how we got there.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
So, well, what are you grateful for the most in 2021? Did we scratch it even yet? Really?
I don't think so.
I feel like we
got there
talked
yet.
about
No.
everything else. I'm sorry. It's just so many guests. If you ask sometimes the same questions, you don't even know what you had actually. But let's talk about what you're grateful for, right? I think we didn't even scratch that yet.
Nope.
Let's break that down quick.
Winnie
What are you
first.
grateful for the most?
Go, Winnie. I've started all the other questions. You go.
I don't even know where to begin. Oh my, I literally don't even know where to begin. I was like reading, trying to prepare for this, and I was like, I could just sit here for the entire time that I'm on here and just list like
people, right?
People.
I feel the same.
I like, oh my gosh. And people and just things that have happened, not tangible things, but things that we've experienced together as a community. I just am so thankful for those moments. I mean, I got to meet a lot of my community in person. I just did a road trip the last couple weeks of December, and to get to see those online friendships, not everybody understands like how a lot of us gamers develop the very real friendships and relationships that we do online. And to get to meet all of those community members and have those relationships and those friendships be just as real in person as they were online, and for everything to just be so incredibly easy. I'm so grateful for that. Just everybody in my community, like I can't say enough, because this year has been really big. This was my first year as a full-time content creator, living out my entire dream. And I wake up grateful for that every single day. And that's something that, you know, I don't know if I'm necessarily intentional about, but I wake up and I go to sleep thinking about what I have here and how lucky I am to have it. Now, that doesn't mean I didn't put work and everything I have into it, but I am very lucky and grateful for what I have. And I'd got to quick shout out my mods, because I wouldn't have made it without them. They're some of my closest friends, and you know, they help me out when the content's stuck, when I'm stuck, when I'm just getting in my own way. I could just keep going, but I think it comes down to just people. I'm grateful for the people that I've met in 2021. Like I couldn't be more thankful to have met so many great humans and to continue to get to grow those relationships with you guys. Like that means the world to me.
Notice again, chat, community. It's always community. I mean, it's the people, and that's why we do this. That's why each guest here, you know, is here for that reason, because they do it for the people, and that's why we're here bringing them to you. So, Rev?
Yeah, so I'm like, man, I'm such like a small little blip in the gaming world and community that I'm grateful that the folks that I have been able to connect with have turned into more real life relationships than staying in the Battlefield world. That's the world I've lived in video games for a long time. But like I'm grateful that I've been able to have like real conversations with people outside of the game, outside of my content, whatever it is. And I'm grateful that I'm in a position to just do something that I enjoy. So like my work, like my real life community, like it's a more than full-time gig. And it's very intangible. Like the work is all relational, and so you never really see the fruits of your labor. Like I didn't build a product and ship it, right? It's all a work in progress, and it's constantly a work in progress. And so one of the things I'm grateful for is that I have an outlet for right now, predominantly making videos and like having a creative outlet, and I can say, oh, here's this thing, I'm done with it.
Is that meditative for you?
Oh,
kind of?
100%. I can get lost in the editing. It's not that I'm like professional with it. It's just like, it's a thing that I can do and I want to practice it. And so I'm grateful that I can connect with people online and say, hey, how would you improve this thumbnail? How would you improve this video? How can I make this better? And so I'm grateful for the craft. I'm grateful for the work of being able to create things.
Yes.
We're going to be partner. We're getting partner on Twitch. I have a lot of charity things in mind as well. More content, and I don't know. We'll see. Good things.
I love it.
Go. Bring it on, 2022.
Yes.
How about you, Rev?
What about you?
For me, really quickly, it's rather nebulous. It is to be available for people in the capacity that I'm able. Just to help serve them, just to serve them, just to love them. So that's what drives me, and that's my goal this year, is like to be as available as I can for people.